Councillors, welcome to the public, and we'll start off the meeting, which is the 2nd of April ordinary meeting of Council, with the opening of the prayer. And Councillor Freeman,
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Recite the prayer.
Almighty God, be with us as we work for the people of the Shire of Moorabool. Grant us wisdom that we may care for the Shire as true stewards of your creation. May we be aware of the great responsibilities placed upon us. Help us to be just in all of our dealings, and may our work prosper for the good of all. Amen.
Thank you, Councillor. Now, if I could refer to Councillor Taylor, you can do the acknowledgement of country.
I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. I pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and the Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be here today.
Thank you, Councillor. So, just to note that this meeting is recorded. In accordance with Moorabool Shire Council's governance rules, the Council will be recording this meeting. The following organisations have also been granted permission to make an audio recording, that being the Moorabool News and the Star Weekly. So, now we move on to who's present and who's not. We're all here, Mr CEO. So, no apologies. Could I have someone confirm the minutes from the last meeting? Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Those in favour? So carried. Right, we'll move into disclosures of conflicts of interest. Are there any items on tonight's paper, councillors, where there is a conflict of interest? No? Marvellous. Thank you. And we'll move straight into public question time, of which we have one question. And I'm not sure, do we have Jessica Robertson there in person? Petition. Right, I've got the public question time first, have we? Or? Oh, sorry, that's the speakers to an item. My apologies, yes. So we'll move into petitions. So there's no one speaking? Right, thank you, my apologies. We'll move into petitions, of which we have petition 9.1 to change the speed limit of Yankee Flat Road from 100 kilometres to 80 kilometres from Navigators Road to Ramage Road, and from 80 kilometres to 60 kilometres from Ramage Road to Mount Bunningyong Road, and install permanent speed cameras along Yankee Flat Road from Ramage Road to Mount Bunningyong Road to monitor speeding. Councillors, we have a petition. Yes, so we have two speakers to this item, and the first one is Jessica Robertson, please.
Good evening. My name is Jess Robertson. I'm a wildlife rescuer and carer from Ballarat, and I also serve as the President of the Victorian Koala Alliance. I stand before you today on behalf of local residents and local wildlife, advocating for a petition calling for permanent speed reductions along Yankee Flat Road and for the installation of speed cameras to enforce the change. Yankee Flat Road is a major concern for locals and wildlife. The speed limit currently sits at 100 k's, suddenly dropping to 80 k's as you enter dense bushland near Mount Helen. This section of road has become a disaster zone for wildlife, and it's an ongoing nightmare for residents who live along it. Many of them experience dangerous tailgating from drivers speeding up to 100 k's an hour in an 80 k zone, making everyday tasks like entering and exiting their driveways a stressful and risky experience. I'm all too familiar with the dangers of this road. Every year I'm called to rescue koalas in this area, and tragically most of those animals don't survive. In early February I was called to a devastating case. A young female koala had been struck by a four-wheel drive at high speed. It was the local residents who stopped and called me for help, but the damage was done. She died. And this occurred, tragically, less than 100 metres from a koala road sign, a sign I had personally requested from the City of Ballarat just a month before. And this is not an isolated incident. Every year we lose koalas on this road, and every year they die. Yankee Flat Road cuts through a known koala corridor, and for years I've been gathering data on koala rescues in both Ballarat and Moorabool Shire. Sadly, this road has become one of the worst hotspots for wildlife collisions, not just for koalas, but for echidnas, wallabies and kangaroos. Koalas in our region are now endangered. In fact, sightings are becoming increasingly rare unless they are linked to a rescue. The loss of these animals to road trauma is accelerating the decline of our local population, and without major changes to speed limits and better enforcement on these roads, the local koala population will face extinction within 5 years. The situation is dire and we cannot afford to wait any longer. So we've gathered critical data to highlight the urgency of the situation. Over a 4-day period, we used radars to measure speeding on Yankee Flat Road, and the results were as expected. Over 50% of cars were speeding. On a Saturday night at dusk, the most dangerous time for wildlife, 41% of cars were travelling over 85 k's an hour. This data, along with 45 signatures on the petition, all residents that live on the road and in nearby roads were supplied to council. I've also supplied data on koala fatalities for the last 4.5 years. This issue is not just about protecting wildlife, it's about protecting human lives. The current speed limits, coupled with a lack of enforcement, are directly contributing to the deaths of wildlife and increasing the danger to residents. We strongly urge the council to take immediate action by permanently reducing the speed limit, as you said, from 80 k's from Navigators Road through to Ramage Road, and further reduce it at 60 k's through the bushland area right to Mount Buddingong Road. We need these changes now to prevent future tragedies on this road for both human lives and wildlife, and we should not wait until it's too late. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Keller, we don't normally ask questions when we're accepting a petition. We normally accept it or... Yeah, turn your light on, please. Yes, and there is another speaker. Right, if I could have Judith Bailey from Dark Sky Victoria.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Judith Bailey, I'm Clarendon. Koalas are mainly nocturnal species. Their eyesight has evolved to move in darkness. Bright, oncoming headlights have a blinding effect on nocturnal species. This is a quote. Koalas spend most of their time in trees but will climb down to move between trees. Feeding, mating and travelling occur mainly at night. Koalas feed almost exclusively on leaves of eucalyptus trees, a diet which is low in energy. Manna gum, swamp gum, blue gum, river gum. Because of their low energy diet, koalas are sedentary for most of the day and are only active for around 4 hours, usually after dark. Koalas usually move between trees by walking along the ground. However, they can jump between trees. That's the second quote. An assessment of wildlife corridors to allow movement, maintain genetic diversity and to ensure biodiverse areas are not impacted by growth is essential. Example, the proposed Precinct 5 development has nearly 5 times the biodiversity levels of areas adjacent to the Ballan railway station on the south side. Biodiversity is impacted by land clearing, insecticide use and light pollution. A policy of comprehensive assessment of vegetative areas before development proceeds, protecting movement across access on highways, adding vegetative buffer zones to developments, economic forests aligned with old-growth, long-term biodiverse assets can help to maintain and improve the biodiversity levels of the Moorabool Shire Council area and ensure koalas do not become an endangered listed species in Moorabool, as has occurred with the combined populations of Queensland, New South Wales and Australian Capital Territory on the 12th of February 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, Judith. Councillor Kerr, you...
I move the recommendation, Mr Mayor.
Sorry?
I move the
Yes, thank you.
recommendation.
And the seconder is Councillor Sullivan.
I've got a question of the council. Can I ask a question of council officers, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor?
we don't generally ask questions to accept it. What we're doing is accepting a petition into council. So
Okay.
when it comes back, then you can ask questions.
Okay.
Does that make sense? That's our role tonight. Does everyone understand that? Yes. Okay. So, Councillor Bingham, do you have something?
I was just going to say in the recommendation, I assume Victoria Policy means Victoria Police. That's just a spelling error.
Oh, right. That's a different thing. Yes, we can rectify that. Thank you. All right. We have a mover and a second. Any objections? Those in favour? So carried. Okay, we have no presentation of deputations. We'll move on to 11.1, advisory committees of council reports. Councillors, is a recommendation sheet. Councillor Berry?
I'm happy to move.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. We'll move on to 11.2, community asset committees reports. Recommendation in the papers. Got someone to move? Thank you, Councillor Minari. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Any dissent? Those in favour? There is. Are you? Sorry?
I'll second it.
No, we've already moved and seconded, but the question is there any dissent?
No.
None. Those in favour? So carried. Thank you. We'll move on to 12.1, which is Customer and Corporate Service Reports, Audit and Risk Committee of Council Reports. Councillors. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Is that moving
I'm
now?
happy to move that, Mr
Thank
Mayor.
you. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. And a question. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan.
Just my question is, thank you, Mr Mayor, just a quick one. I looked at the minutes there and I counted 10 council officers in attendance in whole or part during that meeting. Is that normally the case? It seems a fairly well-serviced committee.
Mr CEO.
Through the chair, I have a problem with my computer. What committee was that?
This is the Audit Committee, Audit and Risk Committee.
No, that would, so basically for that, so they wouldn't be there for the whole meeting, they would just be there for specific reports.
Yeah, but it's just saying it seems a lot of...
I think that was quite a complicated agenda. There was a couple of items with IT and finance and governance.
Seconded, Councillor Sullivan. Thank you. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Move on to item 13, Community Assets and Infrastructure Reports. 13.1, Response to the Blackwood Petition. Sorry, if I missed one, sorry. Oh, you have too, sorry. Customer Experience Strategy. Thought we'd get past that. We got away with it. Councillors, you've got a recommendation in your poll. Thank you, Councillor Ward. Do I have a second?
I'll second it with a question, if I may.
Councillor Sullivan with a question, please.
My question is, what are we actually going out to the community, just in documents of an entirety, or are we sending out some questionnaire with it? Please.
David, please.
Through the chair. So the process will be the document in its entirety for feedback.
Okay, I thought it might have been a... Anyway, that's fine, thank you.
Right, we moved and seconded. Yes. And Councillor Sullivan seconded it, yes. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Sorry, I got lost in 13.1, got excited about Blackwood. So, response to the Blackwood petition. There's a recommendation, 13.1. Thank you, Councillor Ward. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Moving swiftly. 13.2, the draft open space strategy. There's a recommendation.
I'll move it with a question.
Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. The question, please.
My question is, did the comments that council has provided at the last briefing, have they fed their way into this document?
Mr Jeffrey.
Through you, Mr Mayor, no, they haven't entirely gone into this document, and we're proposing to incorporate that in the final version that comes back to be adopted formally.
Thank you. Yes. I'll move it.
Thank you. Councillor Bingham, you seconded it. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Righto. We'll move on to 13.3, which is the Wombat State Forest June 2021 storm recovery, urgent business item. There's a recommendation in the papers. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Do I have a second? Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. All right, we'll move on to 13.4, hard waste drop-off, free green waste and half-price mattresses, 3-year trial review. Councillors. Thank you, Councillor Wood. That's moved. Do a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any dissent? Yes. Yes? So we'll go to debate. Councillor Ward, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As the councillor that moved this notice of motion several years ago for the trial, the feedback from me is that's been certainly well received by the community. I understand and appreciate that the cost for such a service is incurred right across the council, and not every person in the council will use it. But noting that a large percentage of our population are in residential areas, the feedback to me has been as well received and certainly very much appreciated. In particular, the Free Green Waste Month. I note that the turnover there has been quite successful. One of the drivers in my moving of this notice of motion was to try and reduce illegal dumping. Whilst there's no evidence that that has been the case, the fact is that it hasn't increased despite our population increasing. So we've still got a problem with illegal dumping, but we're using other devices now to address that. But I'm happy to move the recommendation, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Councillor Sullivan, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The intent of this, when the trial was set up, was to be able to measure whether there was an impact on illegal dumping in Moorabool Shire. And the report itself, the executive summary, clearly says that it's inconclusive. It actually hasn't set out what it achieved to do. So that what has happened is the monies that are derived, the $26 per tenement, is now being sort of purloined for other uses, i.e. green waste collection, green waste, and also the half cost mattress disposal. And it's been touted that it's free. It's not free. It is not a free service. This is assessment on every tenement in Moorabool Shire, not just every rateable property, every tenement. So if you owned a property that had 5 or 6 rate notes, you'd pay 5 times for this. 5 times. So it's unfair, it's unreasonable, and I think it's just, and it didn't even achieve, give us the result that we thought it would. So it's like saying, oh, we've got this money, we'll just carry it forward. And it is cost shifting. It is just cost shifting from the ordinary ratepayer to those who want to use it. And if those who want to use it, they pay for it. It shouldn't be the responsibility of every ratepayer. It's a form of socialism, basically. That's what we've got, as socialists. So everyone pays and only a few people get the benefit for it. And I think it's unfair and unreasonable. And that's $26 per tenement. And we talk about rate relief and people doing it tough, and yet we're saying, we'll load you up with that. It's bad enough what we put on the other rates and charges on the waste management. And yet here we've got this as well. So I think it's about time. It was inconclusive. We've got other means to address illegal dumping, and we can pursue those, and we are doing that. And I would not support this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sullivan. I'll go to Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, so basically, since in my time in council, basically over the last 5 or 6 months, there's been a bigger emphasis on this kind of area where it is a massive issue, and basically, I'd like to see the stats in the last 5 months. I think as an overall, it probably wasn't pushed through social media as much as what it probably should have been. The big impact if there's nothing in place, and what will happen in regards to that. We're in the middle of a pretty big issue with illegal dumping of soil, various other issues that are going on. I just think we need something in place, and obviously I think it's being promoted in a positive way this time. It is open for everyone. It isn't free. Obviously, it's involved in your rates and everything that goes with it. But I definitely think I'd love to see the stats in the last 5 months, and moving forward, I think that we're on the right path to stay on top of what is a major issue.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Any other councillors wish to speak for or against? Councillor Berry.
I'll speak for. Thanks, Mr Mayor. I'm just looking at the graph on page 33, and I think that the hard waste entitlement services was taken up by pretty much the whole of the area. If you look at Bacchus Marsh, Figures, Balan, and then Mount Egerton, it did reduce over the period of times, but I think basically a major part of the residents and population did utilise this service. I think it's a worthwhile course, particularly with all the illegal dumping that's happening in the Shire at the moment. It's got out of hand. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Berry. Councillor Keogh, for or against?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I fully support Councillor Sullivan, what he had to say, and I think his analysis of the situation was excellent. And I encourage all my fellow councillors to vote with Councillor Sullivan.
Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Anyone else wish to speak for or against? No? Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Yes, look, I go along with Councillor Sullivan because I sort of highlighted it, the increases of $19 and $7. I thought things were getting free, but everyone else is paying. So it's not really a free service. So I will be voting against. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Freeman. Anyone else wish to speak for or against? No? Councillor Ward, do you want to close the debate, please?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Council offers over 200 services to the community. And as a ratepayer, which I am and we all are, I can't nominate where my rates go and apply. I can't say I want it for this service and this service and this service. I'm not paying for that. Just like when I pay payroll tax, I can't say to Mr Albanese, I want my tax to go here. Or when I buy a product in the store, the GST can only be apportioned to roads in Victoria and I don't want my money going to Western Australia. So to say this is socialistic management or this is a form of socialism, we all subsidise, as ratepayers, we all subsidise the services, the 200 plus services we provide the community across the Shire. Mr Sullivan also mentioned that it is not free. Okay, it is $26 per tenement, but the savings to a person who is using the service, and I noticed the mattress drop-offs increased 500%. A person who takes one loaded trailer that gets one free drop-off, that saves them $100. If they do 2 green waste drop-offs in November, it saves them $88. And not to mention the mattress drop-off. So a savings to a resident who utilised this service, and the stats on page 33 certainly indicate many, many did, is about $250 a year. So I think the $26 per tenement is supporting a wonderful initiative that is very, very popular with our ratepayers, and I'd be very disappointed if it's not supported, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ward. Right, councillors, all the people that want to have a say have had a say. So those in favour? Those against? The motion's lost. Yes, could I have those in favour, please? Please stand. We have Councillor Ward, we have Councillor Bingham, we have Councillor Berry, we have Councillor Taylor. Now, sit there. Those against? We have Councillor Sullivan, we have Councillor Minari, we have... yeah, I know, I'll get like you. So, we have Councillor Freeman, sorry, my apologies, and myself. So there you go. I was thinking my own name instead of yours. I voted with you. Yes. Yes. That's what I said. Yes. That the motion was. Yeah. Sorry.
Through the chair, just for the purpose of the minutes, the mayor has used his casting vote and has voted against.
Yes, that's correct. Sorry. Apple. My apologies. Righto. Moving right along. So we've got no other reports. We'll move into item 15. 15.1, notice of motion number 325. And it's construction waste accountability. Now, I don't have a copy of that. I don't think. No. I have read it, but I haven't got a copy of it. So it's Councillor Bingham, yes? If you'd like to give us a preamble.
Yeah, thanks, Mr Mayor. I'll read it for you. Title of my notice of motion is Construction Waste Accountability. So my preamble, Moorabool Shire Council, along with other government departments and community groups, spend a significant amount of time cleaning up builder waste in our rivers, parks and other public spaces. Polystyrene waffle pods used during construction are often left exposed to the elements and subsequently blown across our municipality. Picking up this rubbish comes at a significant cost to council, at times also costing considerable amounts of money to remediate the land. This particular problem is not only isolated to Moorabool, and it has a detrimental effect across Australia and its municipalities. At present, there is no way to trace back this waste to determine what site it came from and what builder is responsible. This makes it impossible to recover ratepayer money, as we are not able to issue any fines. I propose that the way forward would be to legislate that the manufacturer of these pods be mandated to stamp their products with site details, permit numbers and site supervisor contact details, so that enforcement action can be undertaken and money is recovered. My motion that Council write to the Minister for Housing and Building, the Honourable Harriet Shing, and Minister for Environment, the Honourable Steve Dimopoulos, to advocate for the introduction of legislation requiring polystyrene waffle pod systems to be stamped with site details. And number two, the VBA, Victorian Building Authority, and the Environment Protection Authority, Victoria, to seek support of mandatory stamping of polystyrene waffle pod systems with site details. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Now, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Sullivan. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Okay, we have a second one then. Councillor Bingham again. You have a notice of motion 326 for a speed limit reduction, Swans Road, Darley, with no attachments. Councillor Bingham, do you want to preamble it?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So my preamble is that with the upcoming opening of Stage 3, the Summit Trail of the Bald Hill Activation Project, we'll start to see a lot more vehicle activity on Swans Road in Darley. I request that officers write to Transport Victoria to conduct a safety audit to look at lowering the speed limit and other signage for wildlife. Whilst locals certainly understand the risk of wildlife, those from out of town may not. My motion is that... My motion is basically the same as the preamble. That following completion of Stage 3 of the Bald Hill Activation Project, Council write to Transport Victoria requesting a safety audit to be conducted on potential speed limit reduction and wildlife roadside signage suitability on Swans Road.
Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Seconded, is it Councillor Berry?
Yeah, I'm happy to second it. I just have one question.
Yes.
What's the current speed limit on Swans Road?
You can answer that, Councillor Bingham.
Yeah, I can answer that. 80 kilometres.
Thank you.
Righto. Is it?
Not.
So at the start is 60 and then it goes to 80.
Sorry, second question.
Yeah,
At what
yeah,
point
absolutely.
does it go to 80? Do you know?
So
You can probably bring it back through here, but
Sorry.
unless you guys want to go outside.
I did.
through the chair, it goes to 80 after the bends as you come into the new opening of Bald Hill.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm happy.
So we moved and seconded. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Righto, we have no rescission motions. I remember Councillor Cow's name now. So I owe you one, John. I owe you one. Right, so we'll go to the Mayor's report. I'll just note there's a couple of items missing on the Mayor's report and one that shouldn't be there. So I think someone else attended Federation Uni and I think there's actually a couple of things missing, but the attachment didn't come through in time. So I had dinner with Angus Taylor about a fortnight ago with reference to funding for the Shire and dinner with the Liberal candidate for Ballarat in reference to this end of the Shire. So just so you notice that. So could I have someone move the Mayor's report, please? Thanks, Councillor Sullivan. Thanks, Councillor Cow. Seconded. Those in favour? So carried. Right, we'll move on to councillor reports. If we could start with you, please, Councillor Sullivan.
Just one item is noted on your report, the Bland Autumn Festival. I attended that particular day and assisted in the judging of on that day, which is quite interesting, and it was a very well-attended event, even though the clouds opened up and it was wet all day, but it didn't dampen people's spirits, so I think it was congratulations to all involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Cow.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. On the 19th to the 21st of March, I attended a conference conducted by the Australian Dark Sky Alliance. It was one of the best conferences that I've ever been to for the amount of information that I learnt. I won't bore you with all the information tonight, but however, some of the very interesting points that come up that was fairly new to me was that our current public lighting affects our wildlife dramatically. 80% of our native marsupials forage at night, and the lights that we're using at the moment, it stops them from what they should be doing in the way of foraging and all the rest of the things that insects and animals do. Secondly, the thing that was quite outstanding was that technology has outstripped the Australian standards for public lighting and public places at the moment. With AI and smart lights, we can now benefit our wildlife, save money on public street lighting, and produce a safer light space for our residents. On top of that, on the 25th of March, I attended the Blacksmiths Cottage Committee, and on the 27th of March, I attended Grove West Committee.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. Councillor Taylor.
Yeah, I'd like to firstly congratulate the Bacchus Marsh Cricket Club on the weekend. Their first 11 won their premiership in the turf competition in Ballarat. Basically, their women's went through undefeated as well, so they had 2 premiership wins in both men's and women, and a fantastic effort by Sam and all the guys down there. You know, most of the season and the second half of the season, obviously they had to play all away games and had to beat Darley in the last round to make the finals. And basically they've won it from 4th place, so sensational whenever Moorabool's side can get something from Ballarat. Secondly, obviously, we went along to BK Gymnastics at Bacchus Marsh, had their presentation of certificates with Councillor Berry. Fantastic down there. They're up to 405 participants. Really good day, really enjoyed it, and my daughter was giving out a few certificates along the way. And then obviously with the Ballan Autumn Festival, within the conditions, there's still a massive turnout, and well done to all the organisers, and you know, the parade that went through was fantastic, and I don't think it really, you know, even though the weather wasn't ideal, I still think people turned out in force, and it was a fantastic day.
Thank you, Councillor Taylor. Councillor Minari, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. So I'll start with the Ballan Autumn Festival, obviously, again. Rain in Ballan is not going to deter any of us, especially when it was well needed. And last week I attended with some other councillors the opening of the netball upgrades at Wallace and Gordon Recreation Reserve, and the netballers were very happy and grateful. Thank you.
I've seen a few councillors throwing the netball at the thing. Did any of them get in the net?
Well, Michaela was dominating, wasn't she?
She was dominating. Councillor Freeman.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Just an update on Neighbourhood Watch. We now have a President, Secretary and Treasurer and a social media person, so we hope to commence in the very near future. And this afternoon, along with other councillors, I attended the Health and Wellbeing Planning Workshop for 2025 and 2029, and I do commend the council officers, as I found this workshop both interesting and informative. And what I found out was, what was interesting, that babies and children up to the age from 0 to 5 don't receive their vaccinations from the maternal and child health, but actually go to doctors to receive their vaccinations. I'm just thinking about 50 years ago when I had my kids. It was always at the maternal and child health. And the other thing that I found very interesting, that condoms are being offered to young male adolescents, where in fact condoms should also be offered to young female adolescents. And that's my full lot.
Thank you, Councillor Freeman.
Thank you.
Right. Now, Councillor Berry.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. On Thursday, the 13th of March, I attended the Neighbourhood Watch session at Bacchus Marsh RSL, delivered by the Victoria Police, and now listening to Councillor Freeman, pleased to know that you have those office positions in place and that we will have Neighbourhood Watch happening in Bacchus Marsh. Fantastic work, Councillor Freeman. Friday the 14th of March, the Moorabool Environment Group, I attended the Moorabool Environment Group barbecue with other councillors in Balan. It was good to meet some of the community up there and all the hard work they do around environment. Sunday the 16th of March, attended Balan Autumn Festival, as usual, a well-organised event for the whole family. Considering the inclement weather, many locals supported the day, as Councillor Ali Minari mentioned. Anybody who lives in Moorabool, a little bit of precipitation does not put them off from going to these events. Congratulations to the committee. 17th of March, Tuesday the 18th of the 3rd, attended the election announcement by Bridget McKenzie and Simone Cottam, the Liberal candidate for Hawke, who have pledged $5 million to the duplication of Griffith Street if elected. On the 20th of March, attended Victorian Parliament House representing as the chair of Peri-Urban Councils Victoria delegations, and these were some of the comments that came out of the meetings that we did have. We met with Michaela Settle, MP, Parliamentary Secretary for Regional Victoria and Community Sport Member for Eureka. A lot of our conversation was around the developer contribution, DCPs, and how they will impact peri-urban councils. There were discussions around DCPs can fail to meet the needs of the infrastructure in peri-urban councils, particularly with Baw Baw and Bass Strait Shires, highlighting significant shortfalls in current DCPs. We hope that our future fund, through our advocating of the PUCV, gets up. We hope the loan scheme to help funds work in advance deliver just-in-time infrastructure rather than the delayed process associated with developer contribution plans, particularly with the loss of the growing suburbs funding that has impacted peri-urban councils. We then met with the Honorary Sonia Kilkenny MP, of the Honorary Sonia Kilkenny MP, meeting with 3 staff members. As Sonia was unavailable, spoke about the DCPs again, the significant shortfalls exist and are only exaggerated over time, need for a fund like what the peri-urban councils are proposing. We met with Mr Richard Riordan, MP Shadow Minister for Planning and Housing, floated the idea of change to, his key points, have floated the idea of change to planning system, which would effectively centralise a lot of the planning powers but allow council appeal rights. This was the first we heard of this proposal and will need more details but might disadvantage peri-urban councils. The view of our future fund to Mr Richard Riordan was favourable. We then met with the Department of Government Services, Mike Gooey, Executive Director of Local Government. His key delivery points to us were the waste charge changes is now a different direction under new minister and is not going to be pursued. Our same talking points around the future fund was well accepted, and the consistency in government guidelines important. Next meeting was with Mr Danny O'Brien MP, Deputy Leader of the Opposition, Leader of the National, Shadow Minister for Roads and Road Safety, Shadow Minister for Emergency Services, Shadow Minister for Regional Development and Livability. Talking points on future fund for trunk infrastructure, understanding of the issues, but highlighted that the state is broke and concerned about the ability of the state to fund future work considering the current works and budget blowouts in progress. Our final meeting was with Ms Bev MacArthur, MP, Shadow Minister for Local Government. We got across a few of our key points as our meeting did start late and we were kicked out of the room, but basically Ms Bev MacArthur wasn't favourable to the current government's work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councillor Bingham, please.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Along with many of my fellow councillors on the 17th of March, I attended the Community Information Evening on the Western Renewable Link project, which was held in Bland Recreation Reserve. It was really great to see a lot of Liberal members of Parliament in attendance, along with a Liberal candidate for Ballarat and the Liberal candidate for Hawke. It was disappointing that although our local members were reached out to, it was unfortunate that none of them attended that information session. On the 24th of March, along with Councillor Minari and Councillor Berry, I attended, actually opened up the Wallace Netball Court on your behalf, Mr Mayor, and I attended the Gordon opening of the netball court, in which Councillor Berry did. So condition of that is that we're going to get a lot more wins. The 28th of March, I attended a CFA group meeting, not as a councillor, but as a firefighter. But I just want to report from that meeting, there's a lot of anger in regards to the new fire service levy, which is called the Emergency Volunteers Fund. And that group will be writing a letter to the government as well, opposing that. But also what was very interesting that came out of that, one of the local captains notified all of us that although the Emergency Volunteers Fund was increasing, their funding is actually going to decrease. So I don't know how that works, but that's what the government has done. But anyways, that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'll keep it brief. I also attended the Western Renewables Link information evening in Bland. It was very well presented and some compelling arguments. Attended the Bland and District Chamber of Commerce networking event, which was well put together and very successfully presented by the organising committee. I'd like to commend Councillor Freeman. I also attended the Neighbourhood Watch Forum held down at the Bacchus Marsh RSL, and it's exciting to think that may recommence. I attended a Tourism and Economic Development Forum, and I'd like to congratulate Lee McCallan and her team on putting together a very successful forum, and I know there's more of them taking place. I'd like to add to Councillor Vendetti Taylor's comments and congratulate the Bacchus Marsh Cricket Club on their first 11 BCA premiership and on their female cricket premiership. Wonderful achievement, and the twos as well. Oh, and, well, I did have that down. I'd get shot if I didn't say that. And also the Darley second 11 who won. My final item I mentioned, I wish to mention is we had the Western Highway Action Committee meeting on Friday, and we were privileged to have the member for Ballarat and also the member for Regional Development and Infrastructure, Catherine King, attend. And 9 of the 10 councils on the Western Highway Action Committee attended, and it was very informative. And it's, I think, the advocacy work getting put together by a subcommittee and to present to all levels of government will be good and result in some long overdue investment in the Western Highway. And I just wanted to finish by congratulating Jess Robertson, who presented tonight. I had a discussion with Jess when she wrote about the speed reduction for Yankee Flat Road, and I think it's very well justified. But I also just, more importantly, just want to commend her and her team of volunteers, the job they do in rescuing wildlife and injured wildlife. So well done, Jess.
Yeah. Someone move the council reports, please. Thank you, Councillor Sullivan. Thank you, Councillor Keogh. Any dissent? Those in favour? So carried. Righto, we'll move on to urgent business. We'll start with you, please, Councillor Sullivan.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Keogh.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Taylor.
No urgent business.
Councillor Minari.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Freeman.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Berry.
No urgent business, thanks, Mr Mayor.
And Councillor Bingham.
No urgent business, Mr Mayor.
Councillor Ward.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd like to present one item of urgent business, if I may.
Yes, and we've looked at this. We need to get this verified with governments. So if I could ask governments to give us a view on this.
Through the chair, I've had a look at the item. Initially, it's actually noted that it's a notice of motion, so it doesn't pass the test for a notice of motion because 7 days are required of the CEO. In terms of the item, I think it fails the test for urgent business in that, in my view, it's not a matter that's arisen since the distribution of the agenda. The agenda was distributed on Friday of last week. And it also doesn't meet the test that it can't be deferred until the next meeting.
So, the question, Councillor?
Mr Mayor, I'd like to also present to you that this item was unable to be presented prior to the agenda being put together because I was waiting on some statistical data that I've put in there. I would respectfully disagree with Mr Pateri in that.
With respect, we can't debate the government.
No, I'm just going to point out that it says deferring the item until the next meeting will mean a decision on the item will not have an effect on the matter. It certainly will have effect on the matter. And on those grounds, I'd like to get it presented, please.
Yeah, well, we have to, as per the rules, we need to get the urgent business approved first, and then we'll go to that. Councillor Taylor, you have a question?
Basically, what I'd like to request is that we bring both the clubs in and have a chat to both the clubs before we start passing anything, and then we can obviously, there's a few issues between them both.
With respect, I think we're heading to a debate before we even get
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying.
So we'll start with the process first. So are those councillors in favour of urgent business, please? Those against? Just let's do that again because we didn't have enough hands. I mean, I can still count to 9. 4 years in grade 6. We have to be unanimous, but that's the question. Those in favour of
accepting the debate.
The urgent business.
The urgent business, yes.
We have to have the urgent business accepted first, and then we can hear what the urgent business is. So let's start again. Those in favour of hearing the urgent business? 1, 2, 3. What's that? I'll wave too if you like. It's got to be unanimous anyway at any point. So with respect, please, councillors, when we do this, just put your hand up. I mean, or down. Or sideways, but give me some indication, please. It just makes it a lot easier. All right, so that hasn't been accepted. My apologies, Councillor Ward. So, that's all the council reports done. That's the urgent business done. So we'll now, if I can have someone move to adjourn, well, before we go to Cameron, yes, we have to have you around. So someone move to adjourn. Thank you, Councillor Bingham. Have someone second that, please. Thank you, Councillor Berry. Those in favour will adjourn for 5 minutes to allow the gallery to clear, and then we'll come back to confidential, please. And we'll also have 10 minutes on what you want to talk about while we're doing it, and the rate, so yes. Yes.